When healing begins, purpose awakens. This is a major insight into faith, healing, and purpose.
Great night, everyone. Great night. It is a pleasure to be here each and every Thursday. I know last Thursday I was MIA. Y'all, it was a crazy week, but we are back here this week. And so tonight we have a treat for you guys. We have a special guest, and I'm excited to jump into that. So, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to a major insight into faith, healing, and purpose. I am your host, Ashley Major. And for those of you that are new, welcome. This is a place where we go deeper into faith, we dissect the path to healing, and we step boldly into our God given purpose. And so I'm excited to just be here again with you tonight. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to all of our returning and our consistent viewers. You know, this wouldn't be what it is without you. So we appreciate you. And for those of you that are new, this podcast is geared towards women, geared towards helping you dive deep into your faith, helping you start your healing journey, navigate that with grace, with compassion, and step boldly into your God-given purpose. And so my name is Ashley Major. I'm a faith-based holistic life and wellness coach, and I help women that are navigating divorce, navigating toxic relationships, help them to go from unhealed, help them to go from broken and just feeling lost and unfulfilled to healed, whole, and in walking in their God-given purpose. And I this has been a mandate from God. This was not where I saw myself. This is not what I thought I would be doing. Honestly, it took a while for me to get here, if I'm being honest, because I didn't want to face some of my own truths. And so, going through that journey, unpacking all of that, unpacking all of the hurt, all of the childhood trauma, all of the things that ultimately led to my marriage being broken, and just going through the cycles and having God at the forefront and seeing where he has brought me from and what he brought me through, and being that voice to help guide other women. And so if you are here tonight and that sounds like the journey that you're on, you are in the right place. And I'm excited to just introduce to you guys our special guest. But before we get into that, I want to do a quick housekeeping. If you guys are in the West Palm Beach area and you're not busy Saturday morning, and you would like to just be in a space where we are going to be talking about God, drawing closer to God, having Bible study in the park, and looking for sisterhood and fellowship, join me at Freedom Park on, we got an ad back there. Let's turn that off. All right. So join me on Freedom Park in Green Acres, West Palm Beach, Saturday at 9 a.m. We have a group of ladies that are coming out. And so, this is a time for fellowship. This is a time to draw closer to God. And, we look forward to seeing you there. So first things first, got that out of the way. Now let's talk about the woman that is coming on stage. So this is our 8th episode in season 2, y'all. And, one of the things that I shared with you guys last season is that I would be bringing on more people and having real conversations with women that are navigating this journey, that knows what it looks like to be her, healed, elevated, and reborn. And so this young lady that I'm excited to bring up, she is someone that God placed in my path a few years ago, maybe about 5 years ago. And we were on our personal development journey, trying to figure, the path that we were directed on, with the calling that was within us. And so we actually met at a Tony Robbins event during COVID. It was a virtual event. We got put into this group where we introduced ourselves and we connected. We stayed connected on Facebook, followed one another's journey, and then we reconnected back in 2023. And since then to now, life has looked pretty different for us. We were accountability partners, and now, we are co-founders, and she is actually one of the founding core team members of H.E.R Queendom. And so I'm excited to just have her on here tonight. A lot of our conversations could be a podcast episode, so it's just right that she's here tonight. And our topic is beauty from the ashes. And you'll see that with her story, that was the perfect title, right? And so we have tonight with us Brittany Russell. So Brittany Russell is the founder of L3 Coaching, a certified international health and life coach. And she actually focus on energy and embodiment coaching, right? So she does this for powerhouse Black and Latino women that are over the age of 35. And the reason this is her calling, the reason that she, focuses on energy and embodiment is because after more than a decade in an aviation career, right, she transformed her own life following burnout, y'all. So for those of you that have corporate careers that have experienced burnout, have experienced long days, and you just have to get through it because the job is demanding, and you've not taken time for yourself, and you experience burnout, y'all. She's been there, okay. And now she helps women reset their energy, rebuild their confidence, and reconnect with who they truly are. She has a signature model called Grit, right? And she's going to talk about that. And she has a faith driven approach. So, y'all, everyone that is in alignment with what we do, 90% of them are faith based. So, we are talking about faith, healing, and purpose. So, it's only right that she's also a faith based coach. And so, she really empowers her clients to create lives that feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. And so, without further ado, let's welcome Brittany to the stage. Hey, girl.
What's going on, girl? Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I just feel honored. I do. Thank you.
It's about time, right? It's about time that you are on here.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Wow.
we've talked about this, right? So, when last year when we decided that we were going to hold one another accountable to, and guess what it was, content creation, like just posting content, right? Because it was a struggle for both of us. Like,
Yeah.
I had social media anxiety. Like, every time I would get on and try it just was too much, and she was in the same space. And so we decided to hold one another accountable. And I remember us having the conversation, well, we feel called to do more together, but we just don't know what it is, right? And we didn't want to force it. Like, we wanted to come naturally. And y'all, trust me, the last year together has been absolutely amazing. And
Yes.
now here she is on the podcast. So
I'm so glad to be here, girl. It's about time. I'm just thankful for you coming into my life and just how we've been built this amazing friendship. I mean, we're like sisters, and it's been a journey.
yep, yep. Y'all, okay, so let's get into this because we could talk for hours, right? So let's get into this. Tell us, who is Britt? Who is Brittany Russell?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I introduce myself, I always introduce myself as Brittany Russell, not just Brittany. And so Brittany is a girl from LA, West Coast. Okay, I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm a coach, I'm an encourager, I'm a speaker, I'm inspiring. I have a heart for helping people, and I'm just out here to change the world. I've been through some things, I've overcome a lot, but I'm still standing. And the fact that I'm here with a smile says it all. I'm unmarried, I have no children. I am the founder and CEO of L3 Coaching, and I am the cat mom to Nico, which is my talking cat, which I'm sure he'll make an introduction when he's ready. But that's a little bit of who I am. And I'm the daughter to two amazing parents who I'm so thankful for. I'm thankful that they gave me life. And so that's who I am at the core.
That's who she is, y'all. And guess what? She's also our Queen of the Month. So
Yes.
this month we are recognizing our founding team members, and so Britt is one of four. And yeah, so you guys can check this out. She's actually this actually is on our Instagram page, so you can go to her Queendom and you can look at this. You can check this out, read more about her journey to becoming her healed, elevated, and reborn. All right, Britt. So
Let's
let's get
go.
back to this. So tell us, right? Let me remove that right quick. But tell us about your journey. Tell us about how you got to this place, because tonight we're talking about faith. We're talking about resilience. We're talking about navigating burnout and coming on the other side of that healed, coming on out on the other side of that hole. And when you guys go to the Instagram page of her Queendom, you'll see where Britt talks about she's still on this journey. And I want you to touch on that a little as well. But healing is a journey. I talk about that all the time on this podcast. It is a journey, it is not a destination. And so, I want you to share your
Yeah.
journey thus far.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, because it's an honor to be able to share the story. So my healing journey started back in 2019, right before COVID happened. I remember being in like this cycle of just the hustle. All I did, I was going into the office every day, working hard, coming home, getting a couple hours to live my life, and then getting back up and doing it all over again. And that was when it hit me. I'll never forget. Me and my mom went to Peru right before COVID hit. And Ash, it was while I was in Peru that I noticed that there was more to life than just working. There were people there that were out walking, having lunch, holding hands. Everything just seemed slowed down. And I was just like, you know what? I want a bit of that. I want a bit of that lifestyle. And so I took that opportunity to really start working on me. I started addressing my weight. I started addressing what was going on within. I was currently suffering with low self esteem, low self worth. I mean, I had already gone through one round of depression. And so that was the moment to like really sit still, Ash, and begin the healing process. So it started there. By 2021, your girl thought that she was good because I had snapped back. Body was banging, okay, mind was banging. I was like, you can't tell me nothing, right? I had just landed a job with a company that I had been trying to apply for 9 years. So I
Wow.
felt like I had made it. That changed quickly. Within a couple of months, Ash, the burnout started to slowly but surely started to trickle in. I noticed that I was starting to feel overworked, overwhelmed. I was on a 24/7 schedule. I wasn't
Mm,
being respected, valued. I felt out of place.
mm,
And I think it was all of those things where it really just started to build up on me. Then I jumped into a relationship while going through that. And so I'm like,
mm.
okay, well, at least I got this now. This will take my mind off of, the job, and it'll be my balance. Little did I know the relationship was going to start giving me issues. So I start to assess the job. I'm like, okay, this role that I'm in is not working. It's draining me. Let me jump into another role. So I got a promotion and took another role. Y'all, I found myself in the same mess. Overlooked, undervalued, tired, didn't feel respected. It was like everything was working against me. And at that same time, my relationship was starting to fall apart slowly but surely. So I'm going through all of this, Ash, at one time, trying to navigate a stressful job. I'm navigating a stressful relationship. By 2023, Ash, I was engaged, but guess what? The engagement was called off. It was called off because I was told that my stress had gotten in the way and that I
Mm,
wasn't as who I needed to be. And so my person decided to walk away from me.
mm.
From that
Wow.
point, Ash, that's when like the first light went off that, okay, uh-oh, come on now. Because I was already feeling weighed down by the job. Now I have this breakup, this random breakup of my first engagement. I
Mm,
felt so it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt. So from that point, it was like, okay, I'm now out of this relationship. Let me try to make this job thing work again. So I got another role, y'all, because the last role wasn't working out either. I got another role. Found myself in the same boat. And y'all, I would have to talk about that on a whole, like that is a story within itself. There's so much to talk about with that. But it was like, I kept finding myself in the same cycle is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I ended up getting back with my ex because I was like, okay, let's give this another shot. Like I started working on myself, doing what I thought was healing, and things were getting better. Y'all, towards the end, I found myself right back in burnout. It was like a loop.
Yeah.
Loop. And no matter what I did to try to get out of it, Ash, I was right back in it.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the reality for a lot of people, right? We get to a place where we're doing so great, and then we find ourselves back in the same loop.
Yeah.
And so, I was in the same situation. I had to stop myself. I'm like, okay, Ash, why are we still repeating these patterns? And I think that's the point where you and I got to on our journey, because something has to give, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about that shift. Like, what broke the cycle? Because we have to be the cycle breakers. There's many people on here right now that may listen to this live or listen to the replay, and they're like, I need to break this cycle, but they don't know how. So how did you break that cycle?
Yeah, I simply got tired of being sick and tired. And I know that people say that a lot, but like it became so much and so overwhelming that I was like, this is not cutting it out for me. And it started to affect so many different areas of my life, my joy, my peace, my health, how I was showing up. And I'm looking back at who I was back in 2021, where I was feeling good. And I'm like, where is she at? Because she's nowhere to be found. And so it was like after the breakup, after realizing that this job is just going to continue to be what it is, I found myself, Ash, in a point where I was literally begging for God to help me get out of my situation. Because everything that I was doing wasn't working. It did not matter what I did. Nothing worked. I remember feeling so weak because he broke me down. He broke me all the way down to the point where I had to surrender to him. I had to.
Yeah.
And I think that took place, October, November of last year. When I said I can't continue. I know you. Yeah, it was like,
yep.
I was just like, I can't continue to go through this. I need to change. And not only that, but God had already given me a vision of what my life would look like on the other side if I walked away from the relationship and if I walked away from the job. He gave me foresight to see what he can do. And so I got to a point, it was like he gave me an ultimatum. He was like, you can either stay in this relationship and struggle and suffer, or you can walk away and live. And I had to make a tough decision.
So what really hit me just now is that a lot of us know that there is a calling. We feel the tugging, we feel the pulling. And then he said something so powerful. He gives us foresight.
Yes.
He gives us foresight, because I remember on my journey where he showed me too. He showed me, one, the chaos and the turmoil that I was about to go through. Yeah. And he showed me that when I sought him and I fully surrendered, how it's going to look on the other side. And so there's a lot of us that are going through the motion, but we are scared to take the leap because we're not trusting. And God wants us to trust. He wants us to fully surrender. And so, how did you go? Because that's a difficult space to be in, right? Where you've been so accustomed to something, but you've gotten to the place where enough is enough. But now it's a matter of taking that leap, right? So, what gave you the courage to take that leap?
I knew I wanted more for myself. I knew that I had a calling on my life, and it was either I stay in this situation and remain where I'm at and how I'm feeling, or I literally step out on faith and see what God has on the other side for me. It wasn't really hard to choose because I'm looking. My whole entire situation was just messed up.
Yeah.
So it's like you got this dark cloud over here, and you got this nice sunshine and rainbows on this other side. What side are you more than likely going to choose?
Yeah.
I would hope the sunshine and the rainbows. And so it didn't take much, Ash, because at this point I was desperate for something new. I was desperate for change.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where when you have ruled out all of your options, what else do you do?
Yeah.
Because giving up surely wasn't, that was the other thing. I darn sure wasn't going to give up.
Mm.
Okay, just because the relationship failed, just because the good job didn't work out, I wasn't going to give up on who I was and what I was supposed to do, because deep down inside, like, I had already started doing the work, and I knew who I was. I knew who I was before. So it was like, okay, sis, pick yourself back up and let's trust God on this. Let's see what he gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Sonia commented and she said Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart, right? And I think I'm saying it correct. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Yeah. And so, we have to trust. And so, I'm privy to a lot of what went on the inside, but I want you to touch on the mental health aspect, right? Because we're talking about burnout. We're talking about the hitting the rock bottom. Because like you said, there was no other option. So that is rock bottom pretty much, right? It's the only way to go is up. And so the mental battle that comes with burnout, I feel like a lot of times we ignore it, right? Oh, well, this is the part of it. This is what I have to go through. But then you get to a place where you're desperate. And that desperation can take you down two paths, right? It can take you down the path to follow Christ, or it can take you down the path to giving up. And like you mentioned, there was no giving up. That was not the option. But for a lot of people, they seesaw between that, right? Yeah. So let's talk about the mental health aspect.
Yeah. So while the 2 rounds of burnout that I faced, I have dealt with depression and anxiety and suicide ideation. And this last year it was just around this time, y'all. Whew. I remember telling my boss that I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. I broke down in a meeting one day, and that's when I knew that I was dealing with depression. I had went and sought my doctor, and my doctor was trying to convince me to go and see a psychiatrist and go out on short-term disability and put me back on meds. And I was like, no, I don't want to go that route again. But here's the crazy, y'all, this is the crazy part. When she was talking about going to see a psychiatrist, I was like, okay. So I start going through the process. You need a referral to see a psychiatrist. Do you know, Ash, I kept hitting obstacles when it came to trying to see a psychiatrist, to the point where I had to get the company involved to see if they could help. And sis, it became so frustrating that I was like, you know what? This is not it. This is not it. So here's what I had to do. I had to trust on God, y'all. That was it. Okay. So one, I knew before, let me start getting back out in nature. Let me start doing something to take care of myself, because when you're going through burnout, you feel tired. You feel exhausted. You feel disconnected from yourself. You feel unhappy. There's so many different things that play into it, but I had to touch back on the things that I knew that were healing for me. So being out in nature, moving my body. 2, I had to stop watching the news, y'all. I know that that's wild. I used to watch the news every morning and every night.
Mhm.
So I'm going to bed with negativity and waking up with negativity. But the biggest thing was, hands down, I had to get back into church.
Mm. Yeah.
And it started off real slow. And this is no lie. I started off real slow. I wasn't even going into church yet. I started tuning in online. And it took one sermon. And then what I started doing, and this is something that some people may say this is too much, but this is just what I did to uplift me. I started watching my pastor's sermons every single morning. Because what I realized was there was so much that I did not know about how God works. And the one thing I'll never forget my pastor told me in that moment was that God never ends on a negative. He always ends on a positive. And so I'm looking at this situation, and that was a mindset shift right there, right? Because I'm like, wait, this is all negative, but we know his promises are true and real. And so that means that there's good on the other side of this. And it gave me something to look forward to. It strengthened me. It was supernatural strength. I started feeling better.
Yeah.
The minute I started feeling better, girl, that's when things started to slowly unfold. And in a bad way.
Yeah.
That's when things just started to trickle off. The relationship, the job, so many things just started to trickle off. And it was literally like he told me, hold my hand, my child.
Yeah.
I got to do this.
Oh yeah.
That was how I did it. And I never took the pills. I never went and saw a psychiatrist. I did get into therapy, but I refused to get back on meds. No.
Yeah. Yeah. You got the medication that you needed, right?
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
Got the medication that you needed. And and you said a few things that is very profound, that are very profound. The fact that you got into church, but you took it slow, right? And I feel like a lot of times people rush into that process, right? God meets us where we are. He just wants us to make the effort, right? And the fact that you made the effort and he gave you what you needed so that you can hunger for more, right? And he cleans us up from the inside out. A lot of people want to put on a facade and try to look good on the outside, but the inside is empty, right? But he works on us from the inside out, and that's exactly when it comes to healing how it works. But in order for us to get to that point, we have to surrender. We have to give it over to him. We have to allow him to lead the way and hold our hands through this, because we don't know what we don't know. And a lot of our own, leaning on our own understanding got us to where we were in the first place. And so I love that you shared that, you got into church, but also getting out in nature, moving your body, giving yourself the energy that it needed, the inspiration that it needed, being around life, right? Because the news gave you anxiety. Yeah, I mean, granted, some of it is true, some of it is exaggerated, but it all instills fear and negativity and anxiety. And God can't dwell in that, right? Faith and fear cannot coexist. And so if you're constantly feeding yourself with negativity, you're going to pour that out. That's going to be a reflection in your life. And so I think that is a big thing for a lot of people to understand. And I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. But I also want to touch on the fact that you mentioned just, it was right to the tip of my tongue. Where did it go just now? Hold on. Let me reel it back. It was dang, it was good. Something you said, man. Anyways, we'll come back to it. When it comes back, it'll come back, right? But, y'all, we go through this all the time. So Brittany's used to this.
We're usually on the phone for about 4 hours straight.
Yeah. We have a standing Sunday meeting every
Yep.
2 weeks. We get together and
Yep.
we talk about our last 2 weeks, the highs, the lows, what plan, what's ahead for the next 2 weeks. And that conversation is usually supposed to be an hour, but if we got time, we're gonna be on there for a little more than an hour. But so Britta's used to this.
I am. It's all good. I get it. Ash, you know what? But I did want to mention this because people are like, okay, so when did the healing journey start?
Yeah.
The biggest thing, there's something that I want to say about the healing journey first, is the healing journey has been going on for 6 years now. This has not been something that just started a couple years ago with burnout. Or, with the relationship. No, I have been on this healing journey for a while, and there tends to be different levels to it because you may work on one aspect of your life and then something else may bubble up that you realize that you need to address. And so it's just like, it's going to be one of those things. You're not just going to wake up and just feel completely healed and whole just one day. No, it's a journey and we need to be patient with that. And so I just had to add that in there because I was going through it and healing at the same time. And I know that sounds wild, but I was.
Yeah. Thank you for that, because it reminded me what I wanted to say. The pruning that comes with the healing, right? So as you talked about going through it, like you've been on this journey for 6 years, right? But the pruning that came along when you fully surrendered. See, a lot of people are afraid to lose. A lot of people are afraid to just let go. Yeah. And the more that we keep our hands like this, right, we don't have room to allow God to fill it up with other things, right? And so we have to get good at just letting go. We have to get good. And like you said, as you started that journey, or actually continued that journey and leveled up, because every level, as you mentioned, there's something else. There's something else, right? Your first level was when you really started to get your health back in order, physically. Right? So you got the physical health back in order, and then life started happening, right? And part of that journey where you repeated that cycle, even though you were in the process, was because there were no boundaries set. There were no contingencies. Well, if this happened, then I'll do this. And so you were, in a sense, navigating this without guidance, just trying to figure it out along the way, right? And so with that process, you're not going to let go right away because, again, you're figuring it out. But now that you are like, you know what, I'm tired trying to figure this out. God, you got the blueprint. I'm going to give it to you. Now things just started falling away. And you were okay with it because, like you said, you were trusting in his plan. You were trusting in his guidance, and you were okay letting it go. Some people are not okay letting go on an engagement. Some people aren't okay letting go the job. Some people identity is tied into the engagement and the idea of being married, or the idea of having a high paying corporate career, or and so I'm happy that you touched on that. You touched on the pruning, and you also let them know, like, there's layers to this. Healing is a journey. But one of the things I do want to touch on is the fact that you don't have to navigate it and try to figure it out on your own when you partner up with somebody, right? And so I feel like this is where God used us to now use our journey to help somebody else shorten their learning curve, so they don't have to go through the highs and lows that we experienced, right? You've been through the journey. You've been through this journey for 6 years, so you know the different points that these women are going through. You can pinpoint where they are on their journey. So talk about the importance of having a coach, because you got a coach along your journey. You had someone to help you. So talk about the importance of a coach.
Yeah, so I think that's a great thing. I want to throw this in there real quick. This is one of the best coaching questions that I would ask a woman. So Ash, remember when you did this, holding to control things?
Yep.
You realize how much energy that takes to just do that? doing it right now.
Yep.
And so a lot of times when we're trying to control things in our lives, hold on to things, it's draining us of our energy. And so one of the questions that I often ask my clients is, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of?
Yeah.
Because that is an energy drain right there. But when it comes to working with a coach, so when I was in this process, I would tell, and I know that everyone doesn't have access to, all of the resources, but it literally took me an ecosystem and a network to do this. I had to have a primary care doctor. I had to have a therapist, a coach. Okay. I had the gym. I had a whole entire ecosystem, but my coach came in handy because my coach helped me, one, figure out where I was in this moment and where I was trying to go to. And she held me accountable. She gave me strategy. She gave me insight. She was gentle. She gave me that safe space to truly just open up, because see, a lot of people think that a coach is somebody that's going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
No. That's not how coaching works. Coaches, we want you to lean within, to listen to what your body, what your soul wants, and let it give you the answers that you need to take steps forward. It's building self-trust. And a lot of us do not have self-trust. It's one thing not to trust other people. It's another thing not to trust yourself. And so I help women learn how to trust themselves, listen to their gut. Because Ash, one of the key things was when I was going through a lot of that, girl, my intuition was talking to me like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it goes when that little voice, that intuition just talks to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you sit there and try to ignore it and don't want to listen. One thing that I learned in my coaching that has just been pivotal in my life and even in my clients' life is the fact that your body holds wisdom.
Yeah.
And none of us, we're not taught that as we're brought up.
No.
So when I say that, that is, listen to what your body is telling you. When you are dealing with someone who makes you feel triggered, nervous, that is your body telling you that you're not safe around that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember feeling that at work and in my relationship. And so it's giving someone, as a coach, giving them tools, giving them resources, working on the mindset, their perspective, creating new habits. All of that goes into coaching, and then being there to encourage you. Like, I want to see all of my clients win.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody win. And if I could help you avoid the pitfalls and things that I went through and help you get to the other side of this, I'm all in, sis.
Yeah.
Well, I would hire a coach for all of that I just said. And I know that was loaded, but
no, I think you touched on a lot of great points, because a lot of people, well, why do I need to spend money to figure this out? Because you don't know what you don't know. And if somebody has already navigated this, then why not pay them for their knowledge? Why not pay them for their insights so that you don't have to go through it? You don't have to spend years going through something to learn a life lesson where you could have just learned from somebody who can guide you along the way and make it easier, right?
For sure.
And so I thank you for sharing that. So just tell us more about your coaching, right? So you touched on a little about it, but we want to know, because and I talked about it in the intro, right? Energy and embodiment coach.
Yeah.
What is that? Tell us about it.
So energy, let's break it into two pieces. The energy part is working with my clients to understand what's draining their energy, what's causing them stress, what in their life needs to change that will free them up, have them feeling good again, feeling energized, having vitality to accomplish the things that they want in their life. And a lot of times when we really get into it, it looks like not having boundaries in place, no type of self-care routines, constantly keeping yourself busy, never taking a moment to slow down. Maybe you have You're a mom, a wife, you work, you have all of these different things going on and never really setting time for yourself. And so it's looking at what's causing your energy and what can we do to create space for you to start feeling energized again. And baby, that may involve people, situations, bad habits, bad mindsets, all types of things. So that touches on the energy piece. The embodiment piece is okay. So now that we've done all of that, because here's another key piece about burnout. A lot of times when you're going through burnout, you lose touch of who you are. You get disconnected from yourself. And especially if you're a high achiever or a powerhouse, a lot of times, you know, we're leaning heavily on our accomplishments, our titles, the jobs that we have, but we don't know who we truly are at the core. And you get to that point where you look in the mirror and you're like, wait, who is this? And so I help them reconnect with who they are at the core. Yes. What is her core values? Okay. What matters to her deep within? And then, okay, sis, how do you really want to show up in the world? Mm-hmm. How do you want to dress? How do you want to talk? How do you want your energy feel? When you walk into a room, you want to walk into there and take up space and walk in there and feel confident. How are you setting boundaries and saying no, period?
Yeah.
Period, okay? And helping them to truly, yes, come on now, period. So it's helping them to not just think of the change, but to actually embody the change every single day. How they live, Ash. I mean, let me tell you something. When I was on that process, y'all, I know this is something simple. It's my pink glass, but I was like, I like cute feminine stuff. Forget them little IKEA glasses. Let me go get cute.
Okay.
Makes me feel good when I sip out of it.
Brett, let's talk about it. I do not drink out of plasticware. Like, I have no plasticware in my house. Absolutely none. Like, I'm not eating out of it. I'm not drinking out of it. Why? Because why would I lower my standard to a plasticware when I can have glassware every day and feel good about what I'm drinking out of? I don't have to worry about the what they call the impurities in the plastic. Anyways, yeah, so I got you.
And we're not knocking anybody. Hey, if you drink, we're not knocking you, but when you see yourself, when you have a vision of the highest version of yourself and you're able to visualize her and see her, okay, you start to embody and do the things that she's doing. And so I tell, my advice for any woman is, look, I always tell them, you don't have to wait for change to happen to start the embodiment. There are little things that you can start to elevate and do in your life that will kick you into that next level, you know? But so, yeah, it's getting her back to a point where she went from burnout to feeling good. She went from disconnected to now knowing who she is and fully walking into her purpose and who she truly is.
Yes, yes, yes.
I felt that. I felt that.
So usually when me and Britt have these conversations, Britt, we missing the wine tonight, okay?
We definitely. Come on.
Usually our Sunday chats come with a glass of wine.
Definitely.
But let's talk about, we talked a lot about the healing aspect, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about faith, healing, and purpose. We talked about faith, the importance of faith, the importance of trusting God, the importance of surrendering fully, not half-heartedly, right? So let's talk about purpose, because I heard you touch on that. You put that out there, but let's talk about walking in your purpose. Because girl, you got some things to announce tonight, and I'm excited.
I'm gonna keep some of it on the low, Ash. I'm gonna keep some.
Yeah. I got you. You just share what you want to share, but let's talk about the purpose.
It's coming, y'all. Let's talk about the purpose. I'm gonna tell you this. My mommy told me very early on that I had a purpose. If you guys knew how I was brought here, I'm gonna just throw this out there straight up. My mom had a tube ligation and got pregnant with me.
Wow. Yeah.
So just chew on that. Chew on that. So I knew from out the womb that there was a reason why I was supposed to be here. And then just like I said, after going through what was happening with the job, Ash, and the fact that nothing was ever working, I was like, okay, there's obviously something else that I'm supposed to do. But what I started to do was lean in on what I was good at. I was always good at speaking with people. I was always good at helping people. I had a heart to help, to volunteer. I always encouraged people. And it was a couple years ago where I had a coach of mine tell me that I was a coach. And at that point in time, I didn't even know what a coach was. And I was just like, okay, cool. But as things started to go by and life started to unfold, that coaching thing started to hit me more and more and more, Ash. And that's when I figured, I was like, okay, I'm going to step into this. When I completed my coaching certifications, I knew at that point that I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I knew at that point, because now I was able to tie in all of those things that came natural to me.
Yeah.
And to be a true beacon of light out here for women. Then I dialed it down where I was like, you know what? I really have a heart for working with women.
Yeah.
And Ash, it's been every little interaction. I kid you not, every day that I talk to someone, that I connect with a woman, that I encourage her, that I help her see the light, help her see, you know, the path that she should be on and who she truly is, Ash, it fuels me up in a way that like no job could ever.
Wow.
It's like the confirmation and the way that everything, y'all, it went from nothing working out to everything's working out now. I wouldn't be on this podcast as no coach if I hadn't have taken, come on, Ash, you know?
Yeah. And God has a way of taking us out of our own way, because we get in our own way. You were getting in your own way, and God was like, let me shut this down real quick.
Yes, he did.
Right?
Oh,
I need you to focus, sis.
Real deal, y'all. Let me tell you, a couple months ago, I was laid off from my job out of the blue. It came out of nowhere. And I was just like, okay. But I had already prayed and told him, I was like, Lord, I'm trying to do what you need me to do. I'm trying to get this coaching business. There's so much on my plate, like make a way. Now, when I said make a way, you better be clear, or when you say make a way, you better add some detail to what you're talking about, okay? I said make a way, and he said, cool, leave it vague. Because I was
one thing, but my God, you asking for a cake, he giving you milk, eggs, flour, sugar, right? Okay, then.
He did. I was like, okay, yeah, we got to be a bit more specific. He made a way. He cleared the whole path, and I was like, okay. And at that moment, like I remember feeling the grief of that, because I was already dealing with grief, y'all. Remember, I went through the failed relationship. I went through my first boyfriend committing suicide. I went through my best friend dying in a plane crash. Okay. I'm having family issues. Now I've lost my job. Yeah. This has all happened within a matter of 11 months. Yeah. Okay. But at that point, I was like, you know what? This isn't anything bad. This is a great thing. This is my opportunity to fully step into my purpose and my calling. And I've done just that. And I kid you not, ever since I decided to take on this path, God has been working in my life in ways. Ash knows what he's doing. He has already shown me my place in the kingdom. And I'm gonna be honest. He gave me the vision. And I was like, nah, not me. Not me.
Yeah, because it always feels too big. But guess what? He's never going to give you more than you can carry. Never.
And so,
and he has a plan for each of us, right? So he's showing you the plan. He's giving you the blueprint. You just got to trust and follow. Yep.
I agree, Ash. You can't say, I mean, there's no other way to say it. And so between like, and that was the other piece, Ash, was like, if I say, Lord, that I'm going to let you lead me and it's your will and not mine, then you got to be real about that, right? And so for the first time in my life, like I've always been 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm being honest. But now I'm all in. And so it's like, I have to just trust him. but I also have to give him, I have to open myself up and allow him to guide me on this process. And I can just say, like, since going into coaching, taking this leap of faith, drawing closer to God, there have been just, I've been able to meet so many amazing people. Oh my goodness. And there are just so many great opportunities that are headed my way. So I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah. One of the things that dropped on my spirit as you were talking, as it pertains to purpose, right? Purpose requires preparation.
Yeah.
It requires preparation because God gives us the vision, but we can't do nothing with that if we don't start preparing, right? You can have faith, all the faith you want, but if you don't do the work, nothing is going to come, right? And that's
Yeah.
why that passage, faith without works is dead, is so true because you started preparing, you started doing the work, and now you can see everything unfold, right?
Yeah.
And they say hindsight is, sorry, that's it. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, that's it. Hindsight is 2020, right? So looking back, you're seeing his hands in your life. You're seeing him being the puppet master and guiding you through a lot of the things that you went through just to bring you through to this point. And now he is giving you the
Hmm.
opportunity to prepare for what he is going to unfold. I was watching a sermon and I thought this was such a profound sermon because he talked about the steps. He talked about the discovery stage that God gives us seasons in our lives. And the different seasons is the discovery. He showed you the vision, right? You started preparing for it by doing the coaching classes and courses, right? You started preparing. And then we go through this phase of testing. This is where the pruning comes and it feels like everything is happening at once. You went through so much. You went through so much, but guess what? In this season of testing, he is also testing to see how bad do you really want what you say you want. Are you going to stick it out when it gets hard? Are you going to have the faith to
Yeah.
help to hold on to me to keep going? Because the passage Psalm 23 says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because thou art always with me." And a lot of times we feel like God has forsaken us because we can't hear him. We are not seeing the blessings. But David said, as he walked through this valley, he had faith knowing that God is going before him, God is with him, right? And so sometimes, like in this valley season, because you and I, we both in this valley season right now, right? But we're
Yeah.
seeing the light on the other side. We're seeing that through the preparation, through the hard work, through the trust, that everything is coming out. The blessings are coming.
Yeah.
And the pastor talked about the third season, and the third season is manifestation. Nobody can stop it when it comes. Nobody can stop it when it comes. And it's going to seem like everything happened overnight.
Woo. Woo.
It's going to seem like everything happened overnight. Nobody can stop it. The season of testing
Yes.
that we are how do I want to phrase this? It is this season that is going to allow the manifestation to happen if we stay the course, if we stay close to God, if we keep at his feet, if we stay at his throne and we continue to allow him to guide our path. And
Yeah.
so when it comes to our purpose is tied to our relationship, unlocking that, fulfilling that, because you have a lot of people, they unlock their purpose, but when God isn't in the midst of it, it fumbles, it
Yeah.
fails, it flops. They go through the depression, they go through the difficult seasons, but they don't know how to navigate it because he never tell us that we're not going to go through it. But if we go through it with him, when we know that we're going to come out on the other side, we're not going to falter. We're not going to allow life to take us out, right? And so, you can be in walking in your purpose now, but if God is not in the midst of that, how long is that going to last? Who's your refuge when tough times come,
Yeah.
right? And so, like I shared that to say that you know, we all have a purpose. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. A plan to prosper you and not to harm you. A plan of hope and a future. We have a purpose. We all have a purpose here. But if you truly want to walk in your God-given purpose, there are steps to get there. And I'm so grateful that you shared a lot of those steps. You shared that journey, you shared that process. And I can tell you now, like when it comes to healing, like a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to healing, that we have to trust God in the process. We have to include him in the process, because if we don't, as you mentioned before, you're going to keep repeating the cycles. You're going to get to one level, then you're not going to know how to navigate the new level, right? But when you go through the process with Christ, it becomes easier. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel fearful. It doesn't feel burdensome, because you know, like you mentioned, that there's always a positive outcome.
True. So
There's
true.
always this. Go ahead. Go ahead, girl.
I was just thinking, because it's like everything that I went through, I remember at one point saying like, God, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? Why me? Why me? And I look back and it's like, I'm so thankful that it did happen to me. I wouldn't change that for anything, because I wouldn't be who I am right now if I hadn't have gone through all of the things that I went through. And so it's like when the job laid me off, that sucked. It did. But guess what it did? It taught me to really bet on myself, something I had not been doing. It taught me to believe in me and to know my worth and my value, and to know that I am more than just my job. When my relationship failed, that taught me to really love myself, because looking at what I allowed and accepted, apparently there was some work that needed to be done there. It taught me how to love and to respect myself and not to lower my standards. And I wouldn't have gained that insight now if I hadn't have experienced all of that.
Yeah. 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 Man, so listen, we're gonna wrap this up, because we've been here for an hour now, and I feel like this conversation just getting started. But so we're gonna wrap it up, right? But before we do that, before we wrap it up, I do want to just give a quick announcement. Guys, if you have any questions for Britt, I see we have some people watching. Drop it in the comments. We're gonna give a few minutes for to answer questions if you have any. But I want to share this upcoming workshop. So if you guys want to, if any of this sounds good, if this sounds like, you know, I need to be here, I need to learn more about burnout, Britt at the end is going to share where you guys can reach her. But if you are a woman that is ready to release the past, you're ready to rebuild your identity and reignite your faith, if you are ready for more life, more purpose, more faith, if you're ready just to step out, if you've been wondering, is this all there is to my life, but you know that there's more to your life, then I want you guys to join me at this workshop on we're in August 19th, y'all, which is next Tuesday. So go ahead and register. You can scan the QR code and it will send you to the registration, or you can go to amajor.com/her and register today. Y'all, this workshop is at 6:30 p.m. on August 19th, which is next Tuesday. But we're gonna do the work. We're gonna start this process, okay? Because you know, it's one thing, as Britt mentioned, to start your journey, to start the healing journey, but is another thing to actually know what steps to take. When you're trying to figure it out on your own, it can be overwhelming. But having someone to help guide you through this process makes it a lot easier, makes it easy to digest and actually navigate, and you don't feel as overwhelmed. And so we're going to start this process next week, y'all. So if this is something that you want to you feel like God is calling you to, then definitely scan the link, go to majorinsight.com and join us next Tuesday. So I had to put that in there. Okay.
Good stuff.
So, Brett, one of the things I like to do as I close out these calls, and as we wait for any questions, is just to, get to know you a little more outside of the coaching, outside of the professionalism and the insights that we just shared, right? And you and I were readers. We love to read. So my first question is, what are you reading right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm currently reading two books. One by my girl. I want to give her a shout out. So the book is Big Bear Wisdom, and it is a wonderful book from a good friend of mine that I'm reading. But I'm also reading Grant Cardone's 10X Rule.
Now, listen, you can't share out your girl's book without sharing her name. So, what is her name?
Oh, that's what I'm about to say. Hold on, I've got to give the shout out. Shout out to Daniela Roman, girl. That's you. Shout out to you, girl.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, with that, so two books, 10x. The 10x Rule is a great book. I recommend you guys to read it. Definitely in the space that we're in right now, it's an ideal book to read. But what is the best book that you've ever read?
Look, you got me there. We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers.
We should I think that's the book you told me about last year, right? Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I started, I haven't finished it. I need to finish it.
If you have not read that book, I have her new book right behind me. Rachel, you're gonna have to pay me for that. That's future millionaires back there. That I like to remind myself that I'm gonna be a future millionaire. But yeah, we should all be millionaires by Rachel Rodgers.
And why that book?
Because one, like Rachel just keeps it real. I like her authenticity and her realness, but she breaks it down on how you can build wealth for yourself and how there are systems and how we're basically set up as people of color, we're to not have access and not be able to benefit from the wealth that is out here in the world, and how the system typically, it just works against us. I'll say that. So she breaks it down, but she also just gives you ideas, like a plethora of ideas, and she gives you, ways to take action on those ideas. And it's like you're once again betting on yourself. So educated woman, she was a lawyer back in the day. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. All right. So next question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
My grandmother always had this saying, shout out to Nana. And it's something that even when I was dealing with burnout, that I would hear her voice. And that was, once you get your foot out of a lion's mouth, you run and you never look back.
Ooh, I like that, Nana.
That was Nana's thing. You see, I smile. That's something that I share with people all the time. Not going back to something you've walked away from.
Yeah. And I think that's a great lesson, because a lot of times this is why we end up in those cycles, right? Because we keep turning back. Oh, well, maybe this time it's different. No, like it wasn't good the first time. Why are we going back a second time, right?
That's foot in the lion's mouth part. Like
yeah. Wow. I love that. All right. Shout out to Nana. And last question. What would be the one thing that you would like to be remembered for when you leave this earth?
Always being a light.
And
I know that sounds so like, why? No. But when I talk to people, when I interact with people, I really do my best to, one, show up as my true self, but just to inspire them, to make them feel good, to make them smile. Like, I really try to just exude good energy, and it's never forced, And so I want people to remember me for my big smile, my laugh, and just how I make them feel.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it was Oprah. No, was it Oprah? Who said people will never remember what you said, but always remember how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. That's who it was. Maya Angelou. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. She popped up in my head. I was like, maybe that, but yeah, you're right. It was Maya Angelou. Yeah. She said, people will forget what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And so it's important. It's important that we're always kind. It's important that when we step out with the mindset to serve, right? To be a blessing to someone. So I love that you shared, to be a light. That's it, like Mary Magdalene. Yes, yes. Chief Apostle Dana Miles Russell. I guess that's your family, the Russells.
My brother's in the building.
Hey, bro.
I knew he was gonna figure it out. I knew he was gonna figure it
out. Yeah, bros in the comments. But girl, we don't have any questions. But y'all, just let the people know what you got going on, where they can find you, and let's bring this plane in for a landing.
Go ahead and land this bad boy. So right now, I'm currently accepting new clients. If you'd like to just sit down and talk and see how I can help you, please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook at Brittany Russell. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can also follow me on IG at L3 Coaching. We'll make sure to throw all this out there for you so that you can find it. And I'm also on TikTok. Send me a note. I'll respond back to you and let's connect. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, Britt, this was fun. I'm so happy we got you on finally. Yo, I hit up and I was like, I hit up last month and I was like, listen, I got some spots open. You gotta hop on. So she's like, oh, I can let you know. I gave her some dates. She never let me know. And then I called up and I was like,
on me, Ash. When did you spring it up on me though? This
Tuesday. I said, you're on the podcast this Thursday. She was like, this Thursday? I was like, yep. This is not, what did I say? I said, this is not a question. This is a command.
I just rolled my eyes like, okay. But no, I'm so glad. I already knew it was going to be good. So I'm glad that we did this, Ash. Thank you for giving me the platform to talk. And I look forward to, coming back and being a guest again. If the welcome is extended.
Listen, the welcome is always extended. You're a part of the team. The welcome is always extended. Right? And y'all go check her out on her Queendom. So it is, let me pull that up. Hold on, so you guys can get the correct spelling. On IG is H.E.R Queendom. So you guys can check out her Queen of the Week and the journey to becoming her, which is healed, elevated, and reborn. So Britt, any last words before we close out? I will let you close us out tonight.
Yeah, so I just want to say this. I know that there's a lot going on right now, at least in my world, and I'm sure others are feeling it too. This is the opportunity to really lean in on God, y'all. We can't figure out a lot what's going on. It's going to require supernatural strength and help to get us through these things. But then to also stay encouraged. Know that you can get through anything. You can get through anything, okay? You are equipped, you are capable, you have the strength, you have all that you need to overcome. And as you wake up, just know tomorrow's a new day. What happened yesterday doesn't have to affect you today. And just continue to walk out here with, courage, boldness, authenticity, and faith and love. That's all I got to say, y'all. That's it.
All right, everyone. Well, that was a major insight into faith, healing, and purpose. And our guest speaker, Brittany Russell, did her big one tonight with us. She shared a lot of valuable insights. But I look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, same place. Have a great night, everyone.